So talk about Circa and just sort of what you feel like is the vision for it. Would you come up with the idea?
Sure. I'll tell you about the genesis and the problems that I saw. I was reading about the tsunami in Japan, and one of the problems I saw was that when I went to a news site, I would read the first 3 paragraphs and get something new, and then I would read the article and go, I think I've read most of this before. And it kept on happening over and over again, where I ended up wasting more and more of my time, and I realized that some of those problems with journalism and how it actually is so repetitive and doesn't really get context, all those things actually had a root in the history of journalism. And that if we wanted to find a way to fix that, we would have to dig really deep and try to figure out from the ground up how to fix an article, the news, and the experience altogether.
So how do you make something that's sort of native? It sounds like you're talking about very mobile, very kind of next generation. So
yeah.
What does that look like to you in a sense? What can you say about that?
For me, I think, let's look at it this way. Anytime there's a new medium that comes on to the masses, TV, radio, and so on, you need to find a native format for that medium. In other words, you have to find something that is born from that medium to actually reach masses of people. You can't just adopt something from another type and actually plaster on and hope that it works. For example, sitcoms are an invention of television. The evening newscast and the video news stories were an invention of the television era. On the internet, unfortunately, we're still just plying the old trade on a new medium, and I think especially with mobile, it requires a whole new thinking about how we want to deliver that message.
A lot of what people struggle with is also business models, and do you have a sense of how to also make money in a new way, I guess? That makes sense, I guess.
You know, I think this is a big enough of a thesis and big enough of a bet that I'm willing to push back on the monetization and revenue side until if we can figure out if this thesis that we have is valid, that if we can reinvent the mobile news experience, that lots of people will flock to it.
But I mean, is this also dependent on just everybody moving to smartphones and tablets, or?
I think everybody will move on to smartphones and tablets. I think that every person born from this point out will actually get their first internet experience from phones and tablets.
How much of this is also building around communities around sort of a topic or community, as opposed to, being like just about generating information and news, as opposed to being like a community of content, I guess?
That I will have to tell you later. And you'll have to talk to Matt Galligan, the CEO, about it.
But I mean, I mean, when you look at sort of a lot of the existing media organizations, I mean, if you had a chance to be CEO for a day, is there, a new direction or something that you feel like, hey, we need to just sort of rethink, I mean, some basic principles?
I think that people should look at how their existing monetization and business ecosystem is actually preventing them from being really innovative about it.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically, the way you make money today prohibits you from really thinking about your product in a different way. And I think it's a classic innovator's dilemma. So I think that newspapers and TV news and all of journalism has hit this point of innovator's dilemma where if they can't get over it, somebody else will.
Mm-hmm. So is this going to be an app or a website? What will Circa look like?
It will be an app.
Okay. And when can we expect it?
In the fall, I hope.
Okay. Yeah. And is this going to be like completely mass, mainstream type of stuff, or will this be niche? I mean, where do you start?
We're going for a mass audience.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, what is your hope then? In 5 years, what will Circa look like? What do you
how
will people relate to Circa?
I have no idea.
I mean, but you're thinking.
So here's the thesis, right? If we can create a great user experience for consuming news on an app, that's all we need to do. Now, how it looks or whatever, that's up to the team to figure out, and that's for us to test and see how the world will actually react to it. But that's the thesis, and to me, the thesis is the reason why the company exists. And so 5 years from now, I hope that we have a new thesis and we can continue to evolve the business.
But you feel like there's a lot of companies, even a lot of big companies like Facebook are built, for sort of the desktop web, and now they're struggling to go mobile. You feel like jumping straight to mobile?
I actually think that jumping straight to mobile and being native on mobile is actually a huge advantage for a lot of startups.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that a challenge for companies like Google or Facebook or anyone else that
Absolutely, sort of? Absolutely, because they have to work with a business model of their own. And I think the same thing is facing Cheezburger as well, is that we have to figure out how to handle mobile better, and we will.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Great.